Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004. It is off-season time. We are finally here in the off-season. Unfortunately, the season's come to a close. And it came to a close with a loss to Texas in the Fiesta Bowl, the BCS title game. So we lost our first shot at it, but we're still on an upward trend here. We've been very effective as a team, or rather as a coach. And now we're going to look over the stats here. Carlos Cobb with an amazing year. I don't know how he didn't get any Heisman votes. 46 touchdowns. Is that an Alabama record? We might need to look that up, see if that's a school record. But 4,400 yards is very nice. Tim Lewis, who will probably be the starter next season, also got on the field quite a bit in blowouts and such. Didn't do that well. Lamont Farrell finishing 7 yards shy of 1,000 yards, which is funny because in his freshman season, he also finished a yard short of 100 yards. So he seems to be falling short of that mark, but he might get there here. Jamil Spears, of course, the best receiver in the country, over 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. Averaging 20 yards a reception is absolute bananas, bonkers. Chris Kelly falls shy of the 1,000-yard mark, but still over 900 yards. We'll happily take that. And then Chad Whitaker, 13 touchdowns, man, getting All-American honors. He probably could have got regular All-American honors, not just freshman All-American honors. I bet he was one of the better receivers in the country. Our center had an absolute MVP caliber year on the line of scrimmage in his senior season, but everyone else kind of muddied all over the place. Not too much really to look into, but we will probably see some of these guys we will probably be seeing. Probably most of them we're going to be seeing. Colin Lynch is probably going to start for us at center next season, potentially, so we will be seeing a lot of these guys. Unfortunately, the leader in tackles only had 58. To me, that's kind of low. I'm kind of shocked that it was that low, but in TFLs, our right end in his senior season finishes with the most, and then Jamal Mullins and also Jeremy Walls have double-digit TFLs, and then in sacks, Jeremy Walls leads the team alongside with the right end, so the sack numbers. And then in INTs, we have, of course, Steve Collins and Ben Matthews, both of our safeties, lead the team with 6 apiece. Steve Collins winning the Thorpe Award, and then Ben Matthews getting All-American honors. And then Marion Ferguson, an amazing junior year for him. After his first 2 seasons were identical, literally identical, his junior year was much better. So looking at the SEC standings, we of course sit atop. Really wasn't anybody close in overall record. Obviously in conference record, it was pretty close between Tennessee and Arkansas, but we were the only team in the SEC with double-digit wins, which is kind of crazy. There's 3 9-win teams here. Auburn comes in at 8, and then everyone else is kind of hovering around that 6 or 7 mark or lower. So South Carolina has a terrible year in conference, finishing 2-6 to go 5-7 to Kentucky, man. Kentucky, I'm curious what one game Kentucky won. It's probably an FCS game. I wouldn't be shocked, but Kentucky going 1-11. There's a reason we've only watched one Kentucky game on our schedule, and that was in year 1, because they just have not been worth watching ever since. Same with Mississippi State. They've been pretty bad. So in the final polls here, Texas is, of course, number 1. Miami is number 2. Colorado State, who also had a perfect regular season, finishes 3rd. Ohio State 4th, and us rounding out the top 5. Southern Miss, who we also played, is here at 7. They remain in the top 10 here, with Oklahoma dropping to 8, and then Arkansas closing things out in the top 10. Coming here in the top 15 here, nothing super different. Georgia and Tennessee sitting side by side in the rankings. They've been ranked at various positions throughout the year so far. Louisville climbs up to 23 after not being ranked, and Notre Dame closes us out at 25. So with that, we're going to move now into the offseason, because it's going to be an important one. Players leaving, I was worried of this, so all of our important juniors this year are all considering leaving. Carlos Cobb, who transferred to Alabama for 1 year, won best quarterback and is now out of here. He's going to leave. Both of our top receivers, Chris Kelly and Jamil Spears, are going to be out of here, and both of our starting safeties. So it's a small class of people who are leaving. There's actually not that many. It's all of our non-name seniors from year number 1 who are still somehow here, and then all of the important juniors on our team as well. So I've said it before in previous series that trying to throw points at your juniors who want to leave is kind of pointless, because they never get close enough to stay for it to actually matter. You're just wasting like hundreds of points to try and keep them. So I'm just going to let these guys leave, because I think with how recruiting has gone the last couple seasons, I think we'll be able to replace them. We definitely have horses in the stable. We have Ford, who is a backup safety, who's probably going to replace Collins, who'll probably be even higher than Collins is right now, and then quarterback depth-wise, we'll probably can't replace Carlos Cobb, but we won't be completely lost out there. But receiving is definitely going to be a huge blow, losing both Jamil Spears and Chris Kelly. So looking at our recruiting class here, we did get the number 1 fullback, number 3rd guard, number 4 tackle, number 5 defensive tackle. We did get another quarterback. We got the top receiver in the country, the 2nd cornerback in the country. We got the 4th quarterback in the country, the 3rd free safety in the country, number 7 wide receiver, the 2nd tight end in the country, and the 5th center. So on top of a few other 4-star options that we have as well, really prioritized replacing the holes that we had. Offensive line doesn't have a ton of depth in general, so that needed to really help too. We're going to be looking really into training results, which we'll get to. But looking at current targets here, I wanted to show off some of the guys that we missed on. So the number one quarterback in the country flipped to Texas in like the last 2 weeks, so we lost out on the number one quarterback in the country. Also, the number third receiver in the country went to Texas A&M. The number one center in the country, who I really wanted, flipped to Miami towards the end there. And then we also lost the number 4 receiver to Miami. So Miami's still out recruiting just by a hair here. They also got the number 5th or the 5th receiver in the country. And then this number 1 free safety was also in on to the last like a week or two of recruiting, and he flipped to LSU. So that's a huge loss to not have him. The number 6 receiver we were also in on, and he went to USC. And then the number 9th quarterback in the country, Dominique McCray, I was also in on pretty heavily, and he flipped to Florida late in recruiting. So we still got the top class in the country with a typical company around us, with Miami at number 2 and Texas at 3. Colorado State, who again was also perfect this year, they went 13 or 14-0. They're in the top 5 as well. So that is how recruiting went, but now we need the training results. We need things to blow up. So Chad Whitaker gets a huge boost. So does Sean Watts, our tight end here. Lamont Farrell gets a huge boost as well. Some of these defensive pieces move up. Cecil Randolph and Mark Blackwell, our top 2 DBs, get huge boosts as well. LaShawn or Hoover here. David Ford was the one I was really looking at. So David Ford, who's probably going to be our starting strong safety, he gets a humongous boost as well. Our linebacking position is going to be super, super deep here. I really kind of needed the O-line to boost up here, and Lynch, who's probably going to be our starting center, he's only up to an 81, so that's probably going to be the weakest part of our team, our O-line, and as you saw in the Fiesta Bowl, that was really kind of the weaker part of our team. Was Texas was just a lot stronger up front, so we need to get stronger up front. We have the best skill possession players, I think, in that matchup, but when it came to just, on the front, on the O-line and D-line, we just could not match up well at all. So our defensive line, I think, has gotten a lot better, and our linebackers are too, but our O-line is still pretty weak. As you saw, Tim Lewis, the quarterback, was up a little bit in the mid-80s, so again, Carlos Cobb, I think, was up to a 90 or an 89, so it's not like a huge fall-off or anything, but we still kind of not exactly replaced Carlos Cobb. We definitely have a worse quarterback this year. I'm not going to try and play it that we have a better quarterback situation, because we don't. So Tim Lewis will be the starter as a sophomore. He's just a little bit better than Roach is. I went to go check their throw power and accuracy to see just, maybe if the edge that one had over the other was somewhere else and not so much in throwing ability. And Roach is a little bit more accurate, but Tim Lewis has a much, much better arm, so we're going to stick with Tim Lewis as our starter. Lamont Farrell is going to come back for his junior season and start at running back for us, and then it's a pretty huge fall-off after that. Nate Allen is finally back in the starting lineup here as a junior, as an 85 overall fullback. Chad Whitaker is going to be wide receiver 1, and then our new recruit Scott Mitchell is going to be a freshman in number 2, and then DeJon Carroll for his senior season will be a wide receiver 3 on the depth chart. Sean Watts, of course, coming back for his sophomore season at tight end. Wendell Smith will start at left tackle for us as a junior. Trey Gilmore will start at guard as a freshman. So, like I said, we had to bolster the guard situation because it was really, really weak, and it still is. Colin Lynch is going to start at center as a sophomore. Eric Hedgecock is going to be a junior guard. He's the best player on our O-line. And then we're going to have to make a move here at right tackle, since our starting right tackle is really not that great. Mike Reynolds, as a senior, is going to start at right tackle for us. So we'll probably be looking into recruiting next year to increase that. So Jimmy Richards is going to be a junior at the left, and James Joseph as a senior is going to be on the right side. So our end situation is pretty good. And then Jeremy Walls, of course, and Zach Burnett, 2 of the best players on our defense, are going to be on the defensive line here. Starting for us, Jamal Mullins as a senior at left linebacker. Demetrius Moore going to start again at senior, and then we're going to move around right outside linebackers because George Leon is going to be the better option on that side. So we're going to get him starting again for another season. Mark Blackwell and Cecil Randolph obviously going to be 1 and 2 on our cornerbacks, and then Kenneth Jenkins, the sophomore, will be 3rd. And then Rick Sloan is going to be the new starting free safety to replace Ben Matthews, and then David Ford, who could have started last year, is going to start at strong safety over Steve Collins. So Marion Ferguson's up to an 80, and then our punter, like it matters, but that is how the roster is looking now, or at least the depth chart is. So now you guys know who's going to be starting where. There are a few differences. Obviously, the receiving core is a lot different, but I think the team is still just about the same. So looking at our schedule moving ahead into year number 5 here, they did give us Southern Miss again. They were ranked number 8th, and as fun as I thought it would be to play the grudge match between Southern Miss, I just wanted to take a break here after last season to give us a bit of an easier schedule, so I put SMU in their place. And then looking at the preseason polls, I just wanted to see who was kind of around around us, and pretty typical Texas, Ohio State, us, and Miami. So kind of funny how similar that is to real life, but that is how the top is looking. So when we get into the actual season here, we're going to be playing against the Army Black Knights. So we're going to be kicking things off against one of the worst teams in FBS. A nice little pup game. Not FCS, but a nice little easy game. So hope to see you guys. Hope you guys are prepared for your number 5, and hopefully we can get another shot at the title. But it starts here with Army, so hope to see you guys there.